In Britain, a catastrophic zombie virus is unleashed from a laboratory, sweeping through the nation and resulting in countless fatalities. A man named Don and his wife, Alice, who is distinguished by her different colored eyes, find sanctuary in an isolated cottage in the countryside, along with a small group of survivors: Jeff, Sally, Jacob, and Karen. Don and Alice are parents to 2 children, and they feel relief knowing they sent them on a school trip to Spain, keeping them safe from the chaos. One day, as the survivors eat lunch, they are interrupted by frantic pounding at their door and someone pleading for entry. Don is hesitant to open the door for a stranger, but Alice, hearing a child's voice, persuades him to let the person in. They offer the boy food as he recounts his ordeal. His parents turned into zombies and pursued him with a horde, forcing him to flee from a nearby town to reach their location. Meanwhile, Karen is anxious about her boyfriend, who vanished several days prior and has not returned. She moves a small covering from the window to peer outside, but this small action is enough to alert the nearby zombies to her presence, and they attack. They smash through the window and boards, seizing her arm and biting her. Jacob rushes to her aid and pulls her free, but Karen has already turned. She vomits a large quantity of blood and struggles against Jacob's grip. At that moment, Dawn appears and strikes her fatally on the head, which allows Jacob to escape. With more infected approaching, Dawn resolves to hold them off, giving the others a chance to get away. Alice and the boy escape down a hallway, but as zombies begin to break through other windows, the pair flees upstairs. The boy moves so quickly that Alice loses sight of him. Jeff, Sally, and Jacob attempt to escape via the cottage barn, but the zombies are right behind them. Jeff holds the door shut to allow the other 2 to flee, but the door is soon kicked in, and Jeff is quickly overwhelmed and killed by the zombies. Sally screams as she witnesses her husband being devoured, and this brief hesitation gives the zombies enough time to catch her as well. Jacob is not strong enough to save her and is forced to let her go and secure a hatch, allowing him to escape through a window while Sally is also consumed. Downstairs, Don successfully fights off a number of zombies but loses his weapon in the process and is forced to run. Hearing Alice's screams, he rushes to her and urges her to escape, but she refuses to abandon the child. As Don holds back, Alice discovers the boy in a hiding spot, just as a zombie gets between them and Don. Alice cries out for help, but Don is paralyzed by fear. He shuts the door and escapes through a window, leaving his wife and the boy to the zombies inside. With dozens of zombies in pursuit, Don sprints across the farmland, ignoring Alice's presence at the window. He eventually makes it to a river dock where Jacob is attempting to get away in a motorboat. Don jumps into the boat first to start the engine, while Jacob finishes untying it. When Jacob tries to leap aboard, he slips and tumbles into the water, where he is bitten by zombies. He quickly transforms and tries to attack Don, who kicks him away. Don finally gets the motor running and uses the propeller blades to kill Jacob before navigating the boat to safety. 15 days after the initial outbreak, Great Britain is placed under quarantine. By the 28th day, the virus has decimated the entire country. 5 days after that, the infected start to die from starvation. 11 weeks later, the United States dispatches NATO forces to London to begin the cleanup operation. By the 18th week, Britain is officially declared infection-free, and at the 24-week mark, reconstruction commences as Britons who had fled the chaos are permitted to return. American soldiers, including a sniper named Doyle and a helicopter pilot named Flynn, continue to patrol and secure London. The soldiers are bored by the lack of action and pass the time joking with each other over their radios. On the most recent flight of returnees, a group of children arrives from their school trip, much to the annoyance of a doctor named Scarlett, who believes it is too soon for the young to be exposed to the aftermath. While conducting medical screenings on the new arrivals, she encounters Tammy and Andy, who are Don and Alice's children. Scarlett observes that Andy has different colored eyes, and he explains that he inherited them from his mother. Once the siblings are cleared as healthy, they board a train and witness soldiers burning bodies, disposing of toxic materials, and sanitizing every part of the city. They eventually arrive at a fortified repatriation area called District 1, where they are finally reunited with their father, Don. He brings them to a luxurious apartment he was given as the caretaker of District 1, but the children are more concerned about what happened to their mother. Don lies to them, claiming that the cottage was attacked by zombies and he watched Alice get killed, powerless to intervene. That night, Andy suffers a nightmare in which Alice becomes a monstrous zombie. He wakes up and goes to sleep with his sister, admitting he is scared he will forget what his mother looked like. The following morning, after Don leaves for work, Andy and Tammy sneak out of the apartment without permission. They exit the safe zone by carefully navigating the side of a bridge, an act witnessed by Doyle from his rooftop position. As he notifies his team, the siblings run through an abandoned section of London, relishing the freedom from adult supervision. They spot a delivery bike outside a pizzeria. Tammy enters to look for the keys and is horrified by the sight of decaying bodies inside. Holding her breath, Tammy cautiously retrieves the keys from a corpse and is startled by a swarm of cockroaches. She also grabs a helmet and rejoins her brother, and they ride off together on the bike. As they journey through the city, they observe the widespread destruction from the zombie outbreak and the numerous new graves that have appeared. They finally reach their old house, where they find a photograph of Alice and gather some of their old possessions. When Andy goes into the attic, he finds the windows boarded up and a table covered in rotten food. There are also strange markings and the siblings' names written on the wall. He suddenly catches a glimpse of someone in a mirror and assumes it's Tammy, but the figure emerges and reveals herself to be Alice. She has a bloodshot eye but otherwise seems unharmed. Alice rushes to embrace her son, and while Andy is initially overjoyed, her hug soon becomes uncomfortably tight. At that moment, the military arrives, taking the children away and apprehending Alice. Sometime later, Alice is thoroughly decontaminated and restrained on a stretcher. Scarlett attempts to question her, but Alice remains unresponsive. When Scarlett draws a blood sample, she is shocked to find that Alice has been bitten, which contradicts the fact that she hasn't transformed. After completing her tests, Scarlett confirms that Alice is a carrier of the virus and can infect others, yet is somehow immune to its effects. This discovery means she could be the key to developing a vaccine. However, military command wants her eliminated before she can spread the infection and instructs Scarlett to conduct her research on the corpse. Meanwhile, the siblings are in quarantine. When Don visits them, they scream at him for his deception. Overcome with guilt, Don bypasses military security to see Alice in her isolation cell. He apologizes for abandoning her, explaining that he acted out of pure panic. Alice responds, "I love you." Moved, Don echoes the sentiment and kisses her. The infection is transmitted instantly through her saliva. Don becomes violently ill and screams in agony as he transforms into one of the infected. A horrified Alice, still bound to the bed, is helpless to escape the onslaught of the newly turned Don, who brutally assaults her, bites her neck, and gouges out her eyes. Afterward, Don attacks several guards, killing them with his bite, and escapes the hospital to spread the virus throughout District 1. Upon learning of the breach, the High Command retreats to a secure bunker and initiates a lockdown protocol known as Code Red. As soldiers in the city prepare for battle, Tammy and Andy watch their guard leave, only to return moments later as a zombie. The infected guard repeatedly slams his head against the glass, trying to get to them, until his head is suddenly blown apart by a shot from Scarlett. She frees the children and leads them away, navigating through the carnage in the building. They soon find themselves in a desperate crowd attempting to escape. When soldiers try to direct Scarlett to a different exit for civilians, she declares that the children are high-priority individuals. An argument breaks out, and in the confusion, Andy is separated from Scarlett and Tammy. He is herded with other civilians into a secure garage. The soldiers then lock them inside for their own safety, just as the power fails across the entire district. While waiting, Andy hears a sound and investigates the door, only to find his zombie father, covered in blood. Don frantically shakes the door until he breaks in and immediately attacks the civilians, biting them. A panicked Andy runs and hides as the virus rapidly spreads throughout the garage, escalating the chaos. Now, multiple zombies are attacking people, creating even more of the infected. Andy manages to scramble over the crowd, crawl to the ventilation system, and hide inside. The remaining survivors finally break the lock and flee up the stairs, inadvertently allowing the zombies to escape and continue their rampage. On the streets, emergency lights provide enough illumination for soldiers to run to the hospital and for snipers to provide cover. The zombies soon reach the lobby, forcing Scarlett and Tammy to flee while soldiers open fire. Doyle and the other rooftop snipers dispatch zombie after zombie with remarkable precision. But for everyone they kill, more appear. It becomes increasingly difficult to distinguish between the infected and the uninfected. Their orders are to shoot only zombies, but as the High Command watches the pandemonium on security monitors, they concede that they have lost control and order the soldiers to eliminate everyone on site. As the soldiers intensify their fire and a massacre unfolds, Andy emerges from the vents directly into the chaos. Fortunately, he is in the sector monitored by Doyle, who refuses to kill survivors. He proceeds to eliminate every zombie near Andy, including one that nearly kills him, giving the boy a chance to escape with other survivors. A few zombies make their way to the rooftops and begin killing other snipers. After clearing the street, Doyle has no choice but to flee as well. The survivors take refuge in a warehouse, where Andy is reunited with Scarlett and Tammy and tells his sister what happened to their father. Soon, Doyle arrives and offers to lead them out of the area before the military can kill them. The group exits the building through a back door and moves stealthily through the streets, keeping to the shadows to avoid being spotted by other guards. When Flynn's helicopter flies overhead, Doyle has the group wait and creates a diversion over the radio before they continue. Flynn then delivers dire news. The military is set to bomb all of District 1 in 4 minutes. Doyle tells him to pick them up at Regent's Park, not mentioning the other survivors. The group then sprints toward the park, but a sniper kills one of them. They rush for cover, but the sniper continues to fire, killing several more survivors. Scarlett sustains a minor wound, and now only she, the siblings, Doyle and a man named Sam are left. Once they are hidden behind a wall, Doyle uses the reflection from a piece of metal to locate the sniper, who immediately shoots it. This leads Doyle to realize the shooter is not a soldier, but a panicked civilian. Doyle asks Sam to run in a zigzag pattern to draw the shooter's fire so he can take him out, but Sam refuses. Andy steps out instead. His erratic running causes the amateur shooter to miss every shot, giving Doyle enough time to kill him with a single bullet. Andy takes cover behind another wall and is shocked to see his father standing nearby, but the vision vanishes as the group arrives to retrieve him. They then run as fast as they can, climbing a fence to exit District 1 just as the area is bombed. The entire district erupts in explosions, killing thousands and destroying all of Scarlett's research for a cure. Flames engulf the hospital, and Alice's body is incinerated. The group continues through a tunnel that is also being consumed by fire, but they escape just before the building collapses. The generals, watching from their bunker, are horrified to see that a large number of zombies have survived the bombing and are now swarming into London, entering buildings and spreading chaos. In the morning, Doyle's group arrives at Regent's Park, which has been deserted since the virus first appeared. While they await Flynn, Scarlett informs Doyle about Alice and the possibility that the children carry the same immune gene that could lead to a vaccine. At that moment, Flynn contacts Doyle to say he is en route but warns him about the escaped zombies. Doyle immediately has everyone hide in the tall grass. Flynn lands nearby but becomes enraged when he sees the group and refuses to take them. As they argue, Sam notices zombies approaching and runs to grab onto the helicopter. A furious Flynn takes off, flying erratically to shake Sam loose. When the zombies finally reach the park, he lowers the helicopter and uses the rotor blades to kill them. Blood and viscera cover the grass, but a few zombies survive and begin chasing Doyle, Scarlett, and the children. Sam eventually falls, and covered in blood likely becomes infected. The group continues to run as fast as they can, with Doyle occasionally turning to shoot at any zombies that get too close. Flynn tells Doyle to meet him at Wembley Stadium, but is adamant about leaving the others behind. As they round a corner, the group is horrified to see that the military has started pumping gas into the city. They quickly hide inside a car. The zombies catch up and begin to shake the vehicle, smearing blood on the windows. However, the gas soon reaches them and kills them instantly. A group of soldiers with flamethrowers then appears to eliminate any survivors. Doyle tries to start the car, but it won't turn over. In a final act of sacrifice, Doyle gets out to push-start the car, allowing Scarlett and the children to escape, but getting burned to death by the soldiers in the process. Scarlett takes the wheel and drives through London at high speed, only to be spotted by other military helicopters, which open fire. After evading several shots, Scarlett steers the car into the subway tunnels, where they continue on foot. The lower tunnels are pitch black, so Scarlett uses Doyle's night vision scope to lead the children down an escalator. They step on old corpses and slip, falling and becoming separated. As she navigates through the bodies, Scarlett calls out the siblings' names and is reunited with Tammy, but the noise attracts a zombie. The creature seizes Doyle's weapon and beats Scarlett to death. After the zombie leaves, a devastated Tammy retrieves the weapon. Meanwhile, Andy finds himself on a dark platform, where he is discovered by the zombie that killed Scarlett. The creature leaps on him and bites his neck. By the time Tammy arrives, it is too late. When the zombie looks up, she is shocked to see it is her father. After a moment of hesitation, she shoots him dead. A crying Tammy then checks on her brother, but Andy flees, afraid of infecting her. Tammy pursues him, and when Andy trips and falls, she finally gets a close look at him and sees his eye turning bloodshot, just like Alice's, confirming that he is also immune. The siblings later arrive at the stadium and inform Flynn of Doyle's death. With no other option, Flynn flies the children away, crossing over Britain to escape into mainland Europe. 28 days later, Flynn's helicopter sits empty and abandoned in France, with a distress call broadcasting over the radio. A massive horde of zombies is then shown running toward the Eiffel Tower, revealing that the virus has now spread beyond Britain. Be sure to subscribe and enable notifications to see more recaps like this one. Thank you for watching.